Streets 112, the most quotable video in gaming history, and a true miracle taking place in the form of a remarkable speedrun. It's become so embedded in the conscience of gamers everywhere, you can probably hear Ryan Lockwood's excited reaction in your head without even actually hearing the audio. And while Lockwood's reaction speaks for itself, many are able to instantly relate to doing something epic in a video game. Some do wonder, why exactly was Streets 112 such a big deal? In this video I will detail exactly why Lockwood's Streets 112 was such a miracle, and discuss whether or not such a moment could ever happen again. Here's the concise story of Streets 112, the speedrunning miracle. Alright, to understand just why Lockwood's Streets 112 was such a fantasy run, we have to talk about just how Streets 112 ever happened, and what a more conventional journey to that record would be. And for that, we should go back to the first ever 113, set by Wouter Jansen in June 2005. One of the last great untied records set by the speedrunner with the most all-time records in the game's history. Now, for Wouter to get 113, he played the level a ton, several dozen hours, and duplicated 114 dozens of times, slowly inching towards 113. That's the normal procedure for grinding a new record on most levels, but especially a more simple one like Streets Agent, where you just strafe to the end more or less, really playing more like a Mario Kart course than it does a complicated 3D shooter level. You can really only expect to improve by a tenth of a second at a time, rather than cutting off vast swaths of seconds on each personal best. Wouter required 8 boosts to get 113, 2 guard boosts, which is somewhat uncommon, and 6 self boosts from the grenade launcher, which requires a guard to spawn in this location, holding the grenade launcher to begin with instead of a KF7, something that happens less than 12% of the time, and then requires you to self-boost well, without getting interrupted by guards back-boosting you, and without losing so much health that you pass away. Certainly far from a gimme, and nowhere near all clean runs with the grenade launcher would yield 113s. Many super clean 8 or 9 boost runs before this ended up as low 114s. Now, Streets is a unique level because the timer on the bottom of the screen can often tell us the precise time of your speedrun, and we know that Wouter's 113 is a 113.67. This is pretty impressive, showing that Wouter went from regularly getting 114s, jumping all the way to 113.67. So if his previous best time was a 114.00, he cut off 0.33 seconds from his best on this run. That's pretty amazing. But hopefully this can already help illustrate just how cooked it would be for someone to jump straight from 114 all the way to 112. 113 remained a highly regarded record for the next few years. 2 people would tie it in 2007, 4 more in 2008, 2 more in 2009, and then 9 runners in 2010. 2010 saw the discovery that using a 2.x control style could begin any level in full speed, saving about a third of a second. And Streets was the absolute easiest level to use a 2.x control style on, since the entire level is done in right strafe. All it required you to do was plug in 2 controllers, hold down left on the second controller, press RL start to reset the neutral position, and bingo, bango, bongo, the game thinks you're running in right strafe the whole time. Now you can just play with the first controller as you would normally, and it's super cake. This meant that Streets 113 became much easier. A run of 114.2 quality could now be a 113 with the free time save. Most 113.9 quality runs, which are what most of the 113 ties were, would now be 113.6. And a run of 113.67, like the one Wouter got, might now be 113.3. You can see how as strategies and tech improve, we're slowly inching towards 112, frame by frame, centisecond by centisecond. By 2012, 22 people had now tied the 113, and 112 was slowly creeping onto the radar as a possible record, though requiring a pretty much perfect run. I myself played quite a bit for 112, probably 100 hours or more. Got a lot of 113s, mostly 113.9 and .8s, but also some mid and low 113s. An average session of gameplay would probably see half a dozen or so 113s, maybe with one or two that were 113.5 or lower. My best ever run was this 113.02 in March 2012, which had 10 forward boosts and 1 back boost. Take out that back boost and it's 112, but it wasn't to be. Mark Rutsu would also go for 112 through 2012 and have a similar experience. Plenty of 113.9s and .8s. Some of his better runs, maybe 1 or 2 per session, would be mid 113s. Maybe every 2 or 3 sessions he'd get a 113.2 or .1, but it took him around 100 hours of play to finally nail that 112, a super clean 8 boost 112.87. The big difference between Mark's 112 and Wouter's 113, both runs with 8 boosts, were the 0.3 seconds Mark gained from using Control Style 2.2, and then Mark not breaking strafe when he eliminates the grenade launcher guard. You can see Wouter break strafe and move away from the ideal line on his grenade launcher pickup. This later grenade launcher guard spawn location is more on the ideal direct path through the level, the perfect line, which Mark used to his advantage for 112. But imagine, top 10 players grinding the level for hundreds of hours, accumulating hundreds of 113s, slowly inching down towards 112, until finally the perfect run, resulting in the new record. And a record that would immediately be considered one of the game's absolute best. Surely, anyone else who dare attempt Streets 112 would have to face the reality that it may take a seemingly endless grind, full of 113 duplications, hundreds of 113 duplications, and many a late night spent speedrunning. But then, on December 26, 2013, a miracle. Ryan Lockwood, whose PB was only 114, and who was only even going for a casual 113, skips 113 and goes directly to 112. Was this an impossibility? Pretty much. While many players had the skill needed to get 112, it's just so unlikely that they wouldn't have happened to bump into some 113 along the way. Like, if you're good enough to get 112, then in all likelihood, the first run you have with 1 or 2 guard boosts, a clean grenade launcher pickup, and a fairly executed run would be something like a mid or low 113. And even a run with a back boost and a grenade launcher could still be 113. The odds that Lockwood would still have 114, and on the very first decent run the game ever presented to him, to absolutely clutch it out perfectly in such a way to get 112, are just so microscopically low. There's never been anything else like it, nor will there ever be anything like it. Or will there? Could it happen again? On July 1st of this year, Mark Rutsu achieved Silo Agent 59 seconds, a time which is currently considered one of the very best world records in the game. I made a couple of videos detailing Mark's ridiculous quest for 59, so check those out if you're curious. Mark has since posted a video of what appears to be him destroying his Nintendo 64 console as sort of a retirement announcement. And whatever your thoughts are on the destruction of a perfectly working video game console aside, a retirement here is somewhat appropriate. Silo Agent 59 is the dream record, a record so good it is a fitting cap to an epic career. Silo Agent also happens to be a level Lockwood has a lot of experience with, having tied the record when it was 101 back in 2013, and giving it an appropriate pop-off. Not quite Streets 112, but pretty good nonetheless.
Yes! Yes! I did it! I did it! I did it!
So that brings us to today. For whatever reason, Lockwood has returned to playing Silo Agent. He's a man on a mission. He's back in action, streaming every day on his Twitch channel. His PB is still that 101 from years ago, but he's already had a number of 1-minute pace runs. All he needs is to clutch it out to the ending. And while it is very possible that he will eventually nail that 1-minute run, could he skip directly to 59 seconds, repeating his speedrun miracle, creating another MRRL time? Can lightning strike twice? Look, the odds of this happening are just as low as they were for Lockwood skipping directly to Streets 112, but that happened. Such unlikely events do happen in our world, and if it does happen, you'll want to see it firsthand. So go check out Ryan Lockwood's stream on Twitch, link in description. Lockwood has been a good friend of mine for many years, and he's really grinding hard, not only to beat his Silo Agent personal record, but also to finally achieve his dream of getting Twitch Partner. And I'd love to see him succeed, so get in there, follow and watch his stream, and support his attempts to make speedrunning magic happen once again. Alright, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, stay true, and I'll see you in the next stream or video.
Right when he starts firing to try to back boost me, the double. Body armor. 2 quick ones. I already know I'm getting there on the perfect line.